Lean is a holistic approach to elimination of waste, and it's a intent to make things better in quality, service, and just makes the company more stable in the marketplace. I had an opportunity to work with a large equipment manufacturer for a number of years in developing a Lean program for them to use internally to develop capability in Lean. And I was exposed to this training system, which was originated at a GM facility to help show how Lean actually functions in a manufacturing environment. And I had an opportunity to get this unit from the GM NUMMI plant out in Fremont, California, when the plant was closed.
Lean is more dynamic. It doesn't just standardize things and document everything. It also teaches you how to improve processes. It's a team-based function where teams get together and figure out how to make even the smallest things better to get more throughput out.
For me, I work in an office, so Lean in action where I work is you get a process from somebody, somebody leaves, you get a process. It's taking it, looking at it, analyzing it. Is there a better way to do it? Is this step necessary? Is it the best way to do it? So it's taking and looking beyond what you're given and trying to improve it, looking at bottlenecks.
I guess probably using it in a manufacturing environment would be the most logical for me, since that's what I've been training with primarily here at JCC. And the idea is to make sure that each person involved in the training, first of all, has a clear idea of what their job is. And there's a standard that everybody follows with each job that they've got. So at one position, say there's 3 people and each person might have a different job, but there's a standard that they all follow for their position.
Anyone who deals with a process, so that can be a physical process of manufacturing goods, or it can be a process that is a lot of electronics, for example, processing mortgage loans. If you're in a medical facility, anything that has a process, the tools and the principles help you to identify where problems exist and where opportunities for improvement exist.
A class it's 8 hours, it's an all-day class. You basically come in, you're introduced to the environment much like you would be the first day of a new job. We walk you around, show you the departments, we show you the job assignments, and orientation.
The program here at JCC is initially intended to be one 8-hour class, and that is what we call the LESS class, Lean Environment Simulator. But we will also be following up with other training classes which will develop capability so people can deploy Lean in their workplaces. But this is an introduction to Lean, and that helps them to get the big picture view of what Lean is really like and how it should function.
Class is very fun. It's energetic. You look for ways to improve, and once you start going, the people really get into it and they want to continue it. To me, they don't want to stop. They want to go on and on and on. So it's very energetic and a lot of fun to do.
Biggest difference between Lean and other things out there is it's a cultural system. It's about relationships. It's about interaction between different levels, between people who work together. It's a team effort.
To have a simulation lab like this where you've got the time and the space, the facilities to experience the transformation of some of these guiding principles of team collaboration and being at the workplace and relying on metrics and data to make decisions and getting everyone involved. I think that's key.
Let me just share a little bit of information with you on the LESS Lab. The LESS Lab is modeled after a moving line manufacturing system. We use wooden cabs that are 3/4 size pickup truck cabs. And the workers are attaching various parts on the studs that you see sticking out here. each job has a rack associated with it, and each one has a job board. The job board includes the safety man, which shows what type of PPE they should wear to work safely, has a job rotation log, which shows which cabs they have worked on, and what we call the TPM cards. TPM cards are things like a one-time check first thing in the morning. I usually equate it to like a lift truck check. OSHA requires that you check the brakes, the lights, the steering, hydraulics, things like that with a lift truck before you drive it for the day. Well, this is things that they would need to check on this particular job before they started. And then we have a standard process sheet, which is a high-level overview of the work that they perform. And then to help enhance the training experience, we actually have job breakdown sheets that go along with each job. And when the team member is learning how to do the job, we use this to give them the major steps, key points, and the reasons, as well as pictures that helps them to relate to that particular process. So as we move down the line, this is the first job in Team 1, and Team 1 is the red team. So everything associated with Team 1 would be red. The team members, when they're doing the job, would have red t-shirts on, and that's all part of the visual workplace for us. The team member would pick up, they would be instructed on how to do this through job instruction training, and so they're told to pick up a front bumper, and they pick up so many nuts with it as they go, and they're given the training to position it properly on the cab, and then they finger start the nuts. And after they do that, they take the tools associated with that position, and it's just a battery drill, and it's set at a certain torque point and a speed, and then they just run the nuts down on the part. And then when they're finished with that, they put the tool back, and then they get the rear bumper. The entire time they're working, this cab is moving, so by the time they finish this front bumper, the rear bumper has actually moved into their work envelope, and they would proceed with the job. So here is a cab that's already been through Station 1, and it has the front and rear bumpers on it. This particular station does the headlights and the tail lights, and again, it's the same procedure where they get the training on how to do the job, and they pick up the wooden parts and they position them on the cab, finger start the nuts, torque the nuts down with the battery drill, etc. And I'm replacing the parts in the bin for a particular reason, because the job should be built up at a certain point at each station. And if I were to leave those parts on the cab, that would be a non-standard condition. So here's a cab finished with both the bumpers and the lights, front and rear bumper, front light, tail light. This position does the steering wheel, fuel door, and decal. And so we have a steering wheel here. It has dowel points in it so that it has to be positioned a certain way in the cab. And when they put the steering wheel in properly, there's a little mark on the steering wheel that shows that it's the 9 o'clock position, and that means that it's set where it needs to be set. They finger start a nut again and torque it down with their battery drill. They have fuel doors, which are little smaller parts, and the decal, again, which is a smaller part, and they attach these to the cab as well. Once the third position is finished, this is what the cab would look like as it moves into job number 4. Job number 4 is a quality checkpoint, and the individual working on this job would make certain that all the nuts are tight on each of the parts and that the parts are put on the cab properly, and that is their quality check. If there's a problem with it, they would come over to their board, they would identify whether it was a loose nut on the front bumper or whatever the part was, and they would also pull this line, and that's a quality call. The purpose of the quality call is to call attention to a non-standard quality situation. And that would help the team lead to respond and make adjustments so that it can be brought to within the quality specifications.
I really like this stuff. So this is that next step for me. So this is the most organized classroom that I've seen so far. It is technical enough where the beginner can come in and they can learn things right away, and yet it's advanced enough where people who actually know Lean can come in and learn even more. So it doesn't matter what level you're in, you're going to come into this room and learn even more.
I would just like to add that the classes are very enjoyable across the board for the participants and for the facilitators. The banter between everyone is really fun and really light. We keep it comfortable so that everyone, whether they've seen it, whether they've heard about it, whether it's their first time walking in, they have no idea what to expect, we'll feel comfortable.
Again, anybody can benefit from it. You probably do it sometime at home and don't even know it. You may do it in your office and not know it.
We have a lot of fun from the standpoint of it's interesting and you're learning something every time. I don't mean fun necessarily from the standpoint that it's hilarious, but I do mean from the standpoint that if you like to learn, then it's a good place to be. Lean is essentially a philosophy and process in order to more efficiently manufacture, more efficiently operate an office, an ER, could be anything essentially.
The program here at JCC, this is a manufacturing lean environment simulator. It's a closed loop manufacturing. We assemble and disassemble 3/4 size cabs, pickup truck cabs. We put parts on, we take them off. You have standard work that you follow at every step.
I started this program because I could see a significant benefit for all the local businesses in Michigan. We are struggling as a state, and I feel that we can contribute to a revival, financial revival in the Jackson community. The advantage of having a facility like this for an organization is there are 68 of these units globally. Only 3 other units are open to the public, so there's only 4 units total in the U.S. that are open to the public. And the companies that invest in these systems have many millions of dollars tied up in the systems for training. And most companies don't have that type of budget, and especially when you look at some of the smaller manufacturers, they could not justify this type of a training environment. And it just gives them a balanced edge with some of the larger manufacturers that have these systems in place.
Lean in Action is a group of people that want to improve. So they standardize variability, they make sure they all do it consistently in the same way, and then they get together and try to take those small pieces of information, the small things, and try to keep improving one by one. And as they keep targeting different processes, they continue to grow and to get more out, or to make things faster or more on time, or whatever your target is.
What I think an hourly worker gets out of it is the sense that they have some power over their job, that they can make an improvement, they can make a difference, they can make a positive difference. It becomes a common language between them and their managers and their executives to, again, all pull in the same direction.
I like everything that's going on here. This is the coolest setup I've seen so far. I've taught a little bit of Lean in my company and on a much smaller scale, but I've not actually gone through a class. The things I like is how interactive it is with the trainer and the trainee. So the trainee not only listens to what everybody else gets trained on, but they have the opportunity to step back and look at how to improve the process themselves.
From personal experience, a lot of executives are in their offices. They don't know what goes on anywhere else. So I think if an executive takes the class, then they'll understand what the people below them need and should have and be able to do to help the business.
So that's the assembly portion of the cab on the left side. And then after the cab is moved around the corner, this team member's role is to take the parts off of the cab and place them into the totes that you see here on this flow rack. So again, because it's a closed loop conveyor system, we're building the cab up, taking the parts off, and then the cab goes around the next corner and they build the cab up on that side. So the powered conveyors are the 2 long sides where the 4 jobs are done that I just explained. The free end, or the buffer area, is this station, and the cabs are just manually moved along here as they're finished with the different process. They move the cabs along. So that's actually all of the jobs that are done. We had that replicated in Team 2. Team 2 is a blue team. They have blue colors. And then on the inside, we have a green team, which does bumpers and lights and disassembly. They don't have 4 stations internally. They just have 2 assembly stations, and they have 1 disassembly quality station. So there's fewer people inside. Because of the space constraints, we're not able to do more jobs inside that center portion. So that's really, in a nutshell, what takes place during a class. And I'd like to then show you a little bit about our metrics board. Oh, and actually another thing is you can see all the stuff is color-coded. So if the team member is on the red team, all the tools have red handles on them. If it's a disassembly position, it would have a yellow stripe on it, which means that it rotates counterclockwise instead of clockwise. So everything is designed to be visual in a lean environment. This is one of our team boards, and the last time we had a class, I asked the team lead to leave the statistics on the board so that it would be a discussion point for everybody. So this is talking about round 1, and in round 1 they identified 3 situations where someone was not wearing the proper PPE, which is personal protective equipment, and there was 5 instances of people interference. E-stop was pulled on 1 occasion. And they were dropping nuts on the floor and did not pull the andon. And then cabs bumping one another. There were 4 occurrences for it. So what that totaled was 18 safety infractions in that first manufacturing round. And we do the same thing in all 4 categories. The 4 categories that we report on would be common to almost every business, and that is safety, quality, productivity, and cost. And there would be other metrics that companies would report on, but they're the 4 for our class. And you can see in round 1, they had 18 safety infractions, 17 quality problems. They made a total of 17 cabs. The target is 28 cabs in that 30-minute round. And they had no cost, which means they didn't drop any wooden parts on the floor or anything. And then in round 2, after they came out and said, here's some problems that we have, here are some possible solutions, they come out and implement those countermeasures and validate them, and we run a second manufacturing round. The second manufacturing round, they reduced their safety infractions in half. From quality, they went from 17 to 13, which was a good improvement. And then they went from 17 cabs of production to 21 cabs of production. So they actually improved their productivity and improved their quality and improved their safety. And they did have 1 dropped part, and that was considered scrap, so that impacts the cost for that team. Third round is really the dramatic round because that's where they're starting to get into the rhythm. You can see they went from 18 problems down to 4 problems in round 3. For quality, they went from 17 problems down to 4. So you can see a big change between round 2 and 3 here. And then, of course, they made a total of 26